Israel just pulled a little sneaky one on us and blew up a bunch of pagers and walkie-talkies. I overheard that CD players and answering machines are next, but that's not important right now. The world is collectively scratching their head, wondering how exactly they managed to pull it off. Some are saying the pagers were secretly intercepted, planted with explosives, and sent on their way. Others are saying they were slightly tampered with and just the right way to turn the batteries into small grenades. I'm gonna stop the theories there, because if you type in "how did Israel" into Google, the first one is about the pagers, and the rest, as you can see here, is stuff that would make it so that only Viagra knockoffs and sports betting scams would be the only people who would want to sponsor me. I want to take a little look into how they were able to pull it off, why they did it, what was their goal, and then highlight a few of the other ways that Israel has pulled off these kinds of stunts in ways that would fall into the category of killing things, but it sounds like you're playing Mad Libs. Let's begin. 17 and 18 September were two really bad days to be a member of the Lebanese Hezbollah political party / terrorist organization, as hundreds of walkie-talkies and thousands of pagers were all literally exploding. As of me writing this video, these have killed 42 people and injured over 3,500. While everyone seems to be focused on the explosions themselves, I feel like no one is talking about how embarrassing it must be to die to a pager. That's like being killed by a falling cassette tape. Absolutely humiliating. The explosions happened across all parts of Lebanon and a few hot spots inside of Syria, one of which involved Iran's ambassador to Lebanon. Mild shock. But why pagers? Why not cell phones? 2024, we basically grow cell phones on trees these days. Well, it's the same reason that Tony Soprano liked payphones. It's really easy to tap into a cell network. In February of 2024, Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, ordered that everyone needed to switch to pagers because everyone's cells were tapped by Mossad, the Israeli intelligence office. In a televised speech, he ordered everyone to, quote, break, bury, or lock them in an iron box. Now, according to the media, the pagers ordered by Hezbollah were Gold Apollo AR-924 one-way pagers. Unfortunately, if you're in the market for one of these, I have bad news, because the company has shut down the page where you could order them. Side note, if you're also chronically online like I am, I invite you to join the discussion of whether or not the Wikipedia page for this pager should be deleted or not. Apparently, Wikipedia moderators are angry that people are more interested in the fact that thousands of these were just used in a spy movie-esque secret attack instead of wanting to know things like its IP67 rating for dust protection and how it offers a stronger buzzer function compared to older models. Anyway, back to explosions. These were sold by a Taiwanese company called Gold Apollo, but manufactured by the Hungarian company BAC Consulting. But how exactly did Hungarian pagers filled with Israeli explosives and then handed over to Lebanese radicalists happen? It's the globalists. Apparently, it's been an open secret for a few years now that BAC Consulting is just a front for Israeli intelligence. This was news to me though, so apparently I need to catch up on the lore of vaguely named shell companies operating as intelligence fronts. That's my bad. I'll take accountability for it. The now deleted company website says the firm offered a wide range of consulting services including AI, systemic leadership, and geospatial analysis. Not only do none of these really fit together, but also lack anywhere you could put a nice little spot for Taiwanese pager manufacturing into it. The CEO, Cristiana Barsoni Archidiacano, said to reporters, "I don't make pagers, I'm just the intermediate, I think you got it wrong." And she's probably not lying, because apparently those pagers were neither built nor ever even entered Hungary. Reporters then found that pretty much everything on her now deleted LinkedIn resume was a complete lie, and you can kind of see where this is going. So Hezbollah's pagers were in fact created by Israel, or as the New York Times says, Hezbollah's archenemy. An archenemy is a word we need to unironically bring back into normal lexicon regardless, and they did this via a shell company which had some hand in tampering the pagers in a way to make them into small grenades. Now, I won't be covering the entirety of the shell company and all its twists and turns. That would make this video anywhere between 2 to 3 hours, but if you get bored while driving in a school zone or arguing with your girlfriend, you should definitely check it out. At 3:30 p.m. on September 17th, all the pagers used by Hezbollah received a message at approximately the same time. The idea is that if they were sent a message rather than just the pagers spontaneously blowing up, that they would be held up close for the person to read, or at the very least they would be actively reaching for it. After the pagers came the walkie-talkies, and now the United States is sending troops to the Middle East because it looks like Star of David on flag country is about to be fully duking it out with picture of tree on flag country. The sad thing is that if we were to combine these two countries' flags, we would have the perfect one for Santa's workshop. According to US officials, the various strikes that have been ongoing against Hezbollah have managed to set them back 20 years. So like 2004, when they launched several rocket attacks into Israel and funded Hamas during the Second Intifada, Gold Star guys, mission accomplished. The explosives in question are assumed to be some kind of petin, or pentaerythritol tetranitrate. Looks like this. Now, I was only able to find that in a single article that quoted 3 quote-unquote anonymous intelligence officers briefed on the situation, so take that as you will. Petin has historically been used in covert or terrorist explosive type attacks because of its low vapor pressure. That's science talk for it doesn't release particles into the air that could be detected by tracking equipment or things like bomb-sniffing dogs. It's also undetectable by X-ray machines, meaning if you take it through most, emphasis on most airports, and by that I mean airports that aren't in the United States, they're not going to find it. Also, fun fact, if you eat some of this stuff, it'll help lower high blood pressure. Now, there's definitely room for argument that there is in no way they were able to hide explosives in thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies, managed to get them through international shipping with a 100% success rate, and not have even a single person figure out the thing that they carry around 24/7 has been tampered with to be a bomb. Which are all valid arguments, but I'm bad at speculation. I will let you guys decide, regardless if they were just tampered with in a way to use organic pager-only materials to explode, or if they actually had explosives in them. Regardless, they exploded. Turning pagers into bombs is honestly an insane idea, with an asterisk. Turning pagers into bombs is an insane idea if you are anyone but Israel. Hearing they were able to pull this off falls into the category of somewhat shocking but not surprising. The Israeli government and the IDF tend to do things in ways that are cool to a teenager and questionable to everyone else. Their geopolitical situation is so focused and specific that their plans and strategies tend to fall also into focused and specific categories. See, Israel has a nice little history of doing covert secret operations. Let's take a step back to 2009. I'm a depressed 13-year-old, the Black Eyed Peas have just released the worst song in the history of humanity, and Iran is busy enriching uranium at its nuclear facility in Natanz. If you paid attention in social studies class as a child for a minimum of 7 seconds, you would know that Israel does not want Iran to have nuclear weapons. Here's the problem. It is a very far away. Now, the IDF is no stranger to flying jets into foreign countries to drop a few bombs, but those are typically in countries that have borders. Not only that, but the actual location of the plant was pretty deep into the country, and they wouldn't be able to just slip across the border for a few hours, plant some C4, and bunny hop back to Tel Aviv. So what do? Bang bang, Operation Olympic Games, which was an overarching joint effort between Israel and the United States, specifically the NSA, with the goal of removing Iran's nuclear capabilities, and the operation started in the mid-2000s under W and was expanded under Obama, which is then when our story is taking place. Yeah, I gotta stop writing such long run-on sentences in these things. It was decided that this battle would be fought in the digital trenches of cyberspace, and by that I mean they found 4 zero-day vulnerabilities in Windows XP. A now infamous worm was coded in order to exploit these, which we now call Stuxnet. The worm infiltrated Siemens' Industrial Control System Step 7 software, which operated programmable logic controllers which automated processes in the nuclear power plant. No, I don't know what a programmable logic controller is either, but I do know that these things controlled the spinning centrifuges, which were a major step in the uranium enrichment process. Once it had broken through and then some dude in a control center said something like "I'm in," all Stuxnet had to do was make the centrifuges spin at the wrong speed, either too fast or too slow. And this was enough to severely damage the equipment, but still reported to the Iranians that everything was operating normally. By the time the plant operators figured out something had gone wrong, it was too late, and all their fancy spinning nuclear things had already been broken beyond repair. Womp womp, as the kids say. Now, this isn't really a significant event if you look at it from the Israel killing people and or blowing up things to stop adversary nuclear proliferation angle, because there's about 6 bajillion cases of that. The real significance of this was the fact that it was a cyber attack specifically going against physical infrastructure. Cyber attacks up to that point had been almost exclusively used to disable other computer systems or steal information. This one disregarded all of that and went straight for the real-world IRL punch. I'm currently working on a code that will make my neighbor's hot water heater explode through their roof like that one episode of Mythbusters. The first people to find Stuxnet in the system were actually a group of Belarusians who, I assume, had taken a break from making post-punk punk albums and founded a cybersecurity company. The company that discovered it was Virus Block Ada, but it was the group Symantec that would be the one to settle on the name W32.Stuxnet, or just Stuxnet for us laypeople. But maybe you fall into the 14.8% of viewers of mine that are over the age of 45 and things like cyber attacks are too woke and new agey for you. Well, don't worry, my geriatric comrades, because I will be talking about Israel's role in the Iran-Contra affair. You know, the one where the US sold guns to Iran and then funded Nicaraguan rebels, because you can't beat the classics. During this time in the 1980s, Hezbollah was holding American hostages. Hezbollah back then, like it is today, was backed by Iran. Iran was also busy at the time fighting a horrific war against Iraq. Same vibes as when ISIS and the Taliban fight. You're not really sure who to root for there. Now at the time, Israel, like it did today, hated Iran. However, it hated Iraq even more. Iraq was closer to Israel physically and posed a more realistic threat than Iran did at the time. Additionally, the United States couldn't just straight up fly a shipment of arms over to Iran and sell it to them. During the breakout of the Iran-Iraq war, Israel had secured covert links with Iran in order to help them inflict more casualties against Iraq. In 1985, the Israeli Defense Minister Shimon Peres, along with other officials, brought up the idea of funneling the weapons through Israel and other third parties, which would then give the weapons to Iran. The initial shipment in August of 1985 was supposed to secure the release of hostages held by Hezbollah, but Hezbollah, like it is today, wasn't the most reliable group to conduct negotiations with, and several additional shipments had to be made over a longer than expected time frame in order to secure everyone being released. Israel saw this as an opportunity to improve relations between it and the United States, as well as Iran, which might sound funny today. But fast forward 1 year, the news breaks out that the US is secretly selling arms to Iran and using the profits to fund South American rebels. People, like they do today, got a little more than irked at the situation, and a scandal ensued. Israel immediately downplayed their role in the operation, and despite being a critical junction in the whole deal, managed to avoid the political fallout felt by the United States. And that wasn't very ride or die of them. Now, this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to sum everything up. Middle Eastern conflict has important ramifications X, Y, and Z. Israel continues to increase its security posture in region. Generic fear-mongering statement about possibility about how this will lead the United States to be at war with China. Drones are scary. Stay hydrated. Subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.